Hello students, we all know that ear is an organ of hearing. In today's video, we are going to study structure of ear and mechanism of hearing. So look at this structure. It shows the structure of ear, and as you can see here, ear is divided into three parts: outer ear, middle ear and inner ear. Now this part of the ear is the outer ear. This is the middle ear. And this part of the ear is the inner ear. Now outer ear is made up of pinna. This structure is known as pinna. Pinna is also known as auricle. And ear canal. This is the ear canal. Ear canal is also known as external acoustic meatus, and this is also known as auditory canal. Now this outer ear is followed by this middle ear. And as you can see here, this red color structure, the structure is known as the tympanic membrane. Now, tympanic membrane is also known as eardrum. And this eardrum lies between the outer ear and the middle ear. So, this tympanic membrane, it completely separates outer ear from the middle ear. Now, middle ear is made up of auditory ossicles. Now auditory ossicles are these three tiny bones shown here with the yellow, namely this first bone, that is the malleus, then second bone, that is the incus, and third bone, that is the stapes. So these three tiny bones, they form the middle ear, and along with these bones there are two windows, namely this yellow oval window and this another round window. And this middle ear is also connected to the eustachian tube. Now middle ear is followed by the inner ear. Inner ear consists of this snail shaped structure known as cochlea. Then inner ear also consists of the vestibule. So this structure is a vestibule, and three 1, 2 and 3 semicircular canals. Now the cochlear nerve emerges from the cochlea and it joins the vestibular nerve to form the vestibulocochlear nerve, that is the 8th cranial nerve. So this is the basic structure of the ear. Now very important, outer ear collects the sound waves, then middle ear amplifies the sound waves, and inner ear converts the sound waves into nerve impulses, and nerve impulses are carried to the brain by the vestibulocochlear nerve, and this makes us hear the sound. Now let's study the detailed structure of outer, middle and the inner ear. Now this part of the ear in pink is the outer ear, and as discussed, outer ear is made up of pinna and external acoustic meatus. Now pinna or auricle is the part of ear we see projecting from the sides of head, and the main function of pinna is to collect the sound waves. Now pinna is connected to external acoustic meatus, which is also known as the ear canal or auditory canal. It is somewhat curved and it is about 2.5 centimeter long tube extending from the pinna to the tympanic membrane, this red colored tympanic membrane. Now ear canal directs the sound waves collected by the pinna towards this tympanic membrane. Now this ear canal is lined with ceruminous glands, then sebaceous glands, and it also possesses the hair follicles. Now ceruminous glands produce cerumen or ear wax. Now cerumen is a sticky material containing protective substances like bactericidal enzymes that kill the bacteria, then lysosomes, immunoglobulin. Then sebaceous glands are the oil glands that produce sebum. Sebum is oil. Then hair follicles, they possess hair. Now all these structures, they are found in this ear canal, and the function of cerumen, then sebum and hair is to prevent foreign substances like dust particles, insects, microbes and water from entering inside the ear. So these structures, they are highly protective in nature. And this tympanic membrane or the eardrum, it completely separates the outer ear from the middle ear, and this tympanic membrane is oval in shape. Now this central part of the ear is the middle ear. Middle ear is an irregular shaped air-filled cavity, and it is present in the temporal bone. Now middle ear consists of three tiny bones shown here in the yellow color. Now these tiny bones are called as auditory ossicles, and these bones are the malleus, then incus and the stapes. Now along with this, two openings or two windows are also present in the middle ear, namely this is the oval window and this is the round window. And in the middle ear is also present the eustachian tube. Now this eustachian tube, it connects the middle ear with the nasopharynx. Now this tube maintains the air at atmospheric pressure on both the sides of tympanic membrane, so that the tympanic membrane vibrates when the sound waves collected by the pinna hit or strike it. Now malleus, incus and stapes, these three are the tiny bones only a few millimeters in size. Now these three bones, they form a chain. They form a chain across the middle ear, and these three bones together are known as auditory ossicles. Now as you can see here, this first bone, that is the malleus, it is hammer shaped bone and it is attached to the tympanic membrane. Then second, incus. Incus is an anvil shaped bone, and as you can see here, incus articulates with the malleus and its long process articulates with the stapes. Now stapes is a stirrup shaped bone. Its head articulate with the incus and its foot plate fits into the oval window. Now very important, between these bones there are synovial joints. So vibrations in the tympanic membrane vibrate or produce movement in these bones, and movement in these bones produce amplification of sound waves. Then this oval window, this is an opening between the middle ear and the inner ear. Thus the vibrations that are produced in the ossicles, they spread to the inner ear through the oval window. Then this round window, it facilitates movement of fluid that is present inside the inner ear. So this is the detailed structure of the middle ear. Now look at this structure. This entire structure is the inner ear. Now inner ear is actually a cavity in the temporal bone. Now shape of inner ear, as you can see here, is highly complicated and it is like a maze or a web, and therefore the structure is known as labyrinth. Labyrinth means maze or a web. Now this labyrinth consists of organ of hearing as well as the organ of balance. Now very important, visualize that this labyrinth is like a tube inside a tube. That is two tubes. One tube, let's say this one tube, green color tube, inside the another tube. So the outer tube is known as the bony labyrinth, and this bony labyrinth is filled with the perilymph, and suspended in this bony labyrinth, that is the outer tube, is a membranous labyrinth. Membranous labyrinth is this green color inner tube that is filled with the endolymph. So shape of inner ear is like a web or a labyrinth. It is filled with the fluids. Outer is the bony labyrinth which is filled with the perilymph, and the inner is the membranous labyrinth that is filled with a fluid called as the endolymph. So this entire structure is a labyrinth, and this labyrinth has three parts, namely this vestibule, then 1, 2 and 3 semicircular canals, and this snail shaped cochlea. Now vestibule, this central vestibule and 3 semicircular canals, these are involved in maintaining the balance, while this cochlea, it is required for the hearing. Now, nerve that emerge from the cochlea is the cochlear nerve, while the nerve that emerge from the vestibule is the vestibular nerve. Now, these two nerves, they join together to form the eighth cranial nerve, that is the vestibulocochlear nerve. So, this is the structure of the inner ear. Now, as we know that this cochlea, it is the coiled portion of labyrinth and it looks like a snail. Now, this diagram, it shows the cross-section of cochlea and it shows three compartments, namely the scala vestibuli, then scala media, also known as the cochlear duct, and scala tympani. Now, scala vestibuli and scala tympani are the part of bony labyrinth and therefore they are filled with the perilymph, whereas this cochlear duct, it is a part of membranous labyrinth and therefore it is filled with the endolymph. Now, if you remember, we have studied that it is the oval window which connects the middle ear with the inner ear. So, the scala tympani, it originates at the oval window, whereas the scala tympani, it ends at the round window. Now, as you can see here, this cochlear duct, it looks triangular in the shape, and on the base of triangle is present the this basilar membrane, and as you can see here, specialized hair cells are present on the basilar membrane, and this part of cochlea that consists of the hair cells is known as the spiral organ of Cochlea, responsible for hearing. Now, these hair cells are must for hearing as they consist of auditory receptors. Auditory receptors are sensory receptors, and sensory receptors are actually the sensory nerve fibers that originate from every hair cell. Now, all these sensory nerve fibers, they combine together to form the cochlear nerve, and this cochlear nerve, it carries, so this is this cochlear nerve. So, this cochlear nerve, it carries nerve impulses of hearing from the cochlea to the brain, and in the brain the sound is perceived, the sound is recognized. So, this is the detailed anatomy of outer, middle and the inner ear. So, now let us understand the physiology of hearing, that is a mechanism of hearing. How do we hear the sound? Now look at this figure, it very nicely explains the mechanism of hearing. Now, this is auricle. This is external acoustic meatus that runs from the auricle to the tympanic membrane. Now, this tympanic membrane, as you can see here, is in contact with the malleus. Malleus articulates with the incus, and incus is connected to the stapes. Now, this is the cross section of cochlea showing this is the scala vestibuli, then this outer is the scala tympani, and the middle one is the cochlear duct. Now, scala vestibuli and the scala tympani, they are filled with the perilymph, while the cochlear duct is filled with the endolymph. Now, very important, as you can see here, the stapes, it is connected to oval window, and this scala vestibuli, it originates at the oval window, while this scala tympani, it ends at the round window. Now, in the center, as we know, is the cochlear duct. Now, as discussed earlier, this cochlea, it consists of the basilar cells. On the basilar cells are present the hair cells, and together this is the organ of hearing known as the spiral organ of Cochlea. Now, as discussed, these hair cells, they possess auditory receptors, and auditory receptors are the sensory nerve fibers that form the cochlear nerve, and the cochlear nerve, it carries the nerve impulses from the cochlea to the brain where the sound is perceived. Now, let us understand the mechanism of hearing. So, first of all, sound waves are collected by the pinna. These waves, they pass through the external acoustic meatus and they strike the tympanic membrane. So, the tympanic membrane vibrates. Now, as malleus is in contact with the tympanic membrane, these auditory ossicles, they also move, and thus vibrations in the tympanic membrane, they are amplified by the movement of malleus, incus and the stapes. Now from the stapes, these vibrations are transmitted to the inner ear through the oval window, and this produces movement in the perilymph as well as in the endolymph in the cochlear duct. So this basilar membrane, it vibrates, and this stimulates the auditory receptors that are present in the hair cell. Now stimulation of these receptors convert the sound waves into nerve impulses. Thus the nerve impulses or the electrical signals are generated in this spiral organ of Corti. Now these nerve impulses, they are carried by the cochlear nerve of vestibulocochlear nerve to the auditory area in the temporal lobe of the cerebrum. And in the cerebrum, the nerve impulses are perceived, they are read and they are analyzed, and thus we are able to hear. So the main function of the outer ear is to collect the sound waves. Then these sound waves which are collected by the outer ear, by the pinna or the auricle, they are amplified by the movement of auditory ossicles. And further, in the hair cells, when the hair cells are activated, the auditory receptors are activated, they convert the sound waves into nerve impulses. And these nerve impulses, they are carried by the cochlear nerve, and finally they reach the auditory area of the temporal lobe of the cerebrum, where these nerve impulses, they are read, they are perceived, they are analyzed, and thus we are able to hear. So this is a mechanism by which sound is finally heard. So this is all about the structure of the ear and the mechanism of hearing. If you find the video useful, kindly like, subscribe and share this video. Thanks for watching this video.